Hey, welcome to the studio of Carini Arts. It is a beautiful Sunday, fun day here. So naturally, I am supposed to be resting, but really just at work, frantically and anxiously moving from project to project. But I was running yesterday and I was listening to a Jay-Z song and it talked about how men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. But that's not necessarily true in all cases. And I think that particularly when it comes to your dream, to success, to the pursuit of your calling, numbers can be very deceptive. And I often, like I do right now, have 0 people on my live feeds, or I will post things that even with a decent sized following, a lot of times I won't get any views or things like that. And so some people will say, "Well, why do you even bother doing the videos? What's the point if nobody's gonna see it?" And there's definitely a point, and there's a reason that you should still do them. And, I think part of it is that we all have to start somewhere. So if you haven't done something before, you're going to have to build. And a lot of people won't get started because they say, oh, it's going to take so long to build. But guess what? The sooner you get started, the sooner you can start building. And even if it doesn't build, I come on this platform and I like to use this live platform where I don't get any views oftentimes to just bounce things off of a mirror, essentially. I look at it as an opportunity to have a dialogue with myself, to look into the mirror, to have this reflective period, like a journal of sorts. And the cool thing about YouTube is that then it gets posted and it'll stay housed in that platform. And who knows, maybe later on it'll make a difference for somebody. So you may be at 0 views and 0 visibility now, but who knows, later on, it might be a game changer or a difference maker for somebody. Maybe you reach somebody and you change their life. In that case, you just went from 0 to 1, and that 1 could be somebody's entire world. So it absolutely makes a difference. I think that numbers can be very deceptive. I know that we live in a culture of immediate gratification. And a lot of times we are looking for big numbers. And I'll be the first to admit, when I see that something's taking off or doing really well, I get excited. And it is like a drug. You feel that dopamine kick in. And then when I have something that I think is of interest and I post it, nobody responds or nobody seems to engage in it. I wonder, well, did I miss something here? Does it not have the value that I thought it did? And that's not necessarily the case at all. I think that it can absolutely have value. And one things that I have to remember is that in being an artist, at its core, I started doing this for myself. I started doing this as a way to find myself, to find my voice, to get out of the darkness, to remove myself from a situation of feeling like I was lost all the time. And so even when I felt like a 0 myself, when I felt like I wasn't anybody, it gave me an opportunity to dive in and to find myself. But I had to move forward, even feeling like that 0. I had to carry on and keep moving forward and keep doing the thing, even though I felt like I didn't really exist. And then I got to a point where I acknowledged that I did, and I still have periods where I go back and forth. But then I started to see the impact that it had on other people. And it wasn't always necessarily that a lot of people were seeing my stuff, but sometimes even in fewer numbers, you're able to have a more intimate connection with people, engage with people in a different type of way. And I saw the difference it was making for some. And that made me realize, hey, regardless of the numbers, it's imperative that you do this. And even if you're not reaching anybody today, you may be able to reach somebody tomorrow or down the line. And if nothing else, you look at it as practice. You look at it as an opportunity to screw up and to take chances and to see what works and what doesn't. And if you fall flat on your face, well, guess what? Nobody was really looking. You can go delete it later. But if you like it and you think it has value, you can leave it up. And who knows? Maybe tomorrow, maybe a week from now, maybe a month from now, maybe a year from now, maybe 10 years from now, somebody will find it and it'll mean something to somebody at that time. Maybe it'll change their life, and you could be this person that was absolutely integral to their development and to their growth, which they then share with somebody else. So in a way, it can blossom and sprout from 0, from nothing. It could be the rose that grew from concrete and expand exponentially. So you never really know the reach that you're going to have. Sometimes we just don't see it. Sometimes it comes later. And I'm reminded of this as I was sharing my Van Gogh Starry Night tribute painting earlier that is called A Safe Space for Vincent. And Van Gogh only sold 1 painting during the course of his life, not really recognized when he was here on this earth. But he's gone now, and now he's widely recognized as one of the most influential and greatest artists of all time. And I think that there's a lesson to be learned there. And a lot of it comes down to perception and timing. And there are a lot of things that are out of our control. But what you can control, what you can choose to do is to carry on and keep doing your thing, even when you're at zero, like I am right now. And that's okay. I'm here to share my stories. I'll put them out there because this is my calling, this is my purpose. And I know the weight that has to be carried oftentimes in being an artist with the obstacles and the struggles that I have in my own life. And I know what it would have meant to me if there was somebody that came before me that tried to lighten my burden just a little bit so that then I could go on and lighten the burden for somebody else. So that is my purpose. That is my calling at this point. And that's why even at zero for me, I will continue to do these things. And I do have substantial numbers, I feel, on some of my other platforms. And substantial, again, it's all relative. But I do have decent sized followings, but I come on and I choose to do stuff here on YouTube where I don't really have a following and where I don't necessarily get engagement and things like that. And this is the reason for it. So this is kind of a safe space for me to kind of just dump and unload and to share my thoughts and a space of vulnerability. And I think that there will be people that will connect with that if somebody ever decides to invest the time to dive deeper into what I do and into my work and into my talks and my stories and things of that nature. And in that regard, I think that there's a lesson in the sense that you leave Easter eggs and you leave treasures for those that are willing to look deeper. So you put them out there, you still do the work, even if nobody's looking, because I think that you can look at it as a form of practice that you put in the work to improve yourself, to better yourself, to reach the next level. And you're not always going to be in the spotlight. And I think that it's absolutely true that for every second you have in the spotlight, there's probably 1,000, if not 10,000 hours of hard work and dedication that go on in the dark that nobody ever sees. So I just want to take this time to acknowledge all the people out there that feel like they don't get any engagement or like they don't have a following or that are seeing zeros pop up on things and say that we are connected and that I see you. So have a great day. Stay safe. Be well. Check out CariniArts.com for my shop, my blog, my podcast, and join me on my other platforms like Instagram at Acrylic Alchemy or on Facebook at Carini Arts. And I did just start a new Facebook group called A Safe Space for Artists of All Types. Just did it the other day. It's funny because in relation to this talk, I've had the page up for a couple years, but nobody ever engaged. And I think I had like 17 people in the group that had been up for years. And then I changed one of the settings, and all of a sudden, like almost overnight, it's at 450 people or something like that. So again, numbers are relative. Sometimes numbers do lie. So not to discredit Jay-Z because Jay-Z is right about a lot of things, but sometimes numbers, uh, perhaps they don't lie, but they can be deceptive, I will say. So have a great day. Happy Sunday. And I will see you next time. But check out my other videos, my other talks, and feel free to share. Maybe we can get my zero up to a one or a two. So, hey, when you make that type of progress, it's exponential. It's great. It's amazing. So I'll see you next time.